This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Wednesday, December the 13th, 2023. So glad you could join us here today. Coming up a little later in the program, I talk with Jed Norman of LG Seeds as we get ready for the 2024 growing season. We also have a check on a rather pleasant ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
We're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. And Tyler, what did we see on the trading block this Wednesday?
Not anything real positive for any agricultural commodities today. Got a down day pretty much across the board, grains and livestock. The early news was, Argentina elected a new president. He's far more of I guess what you'd say, a radical conservative than what they've seen. He wants to try to fix inflation. He's willing to do it at the short-term pain to the economy right now, and so they're taking strides to debase the value of their currency, and that just kind of that basic idea now is product out of Argentina just got cheaper with their currency falling, and commodity markets just kind of followed with. Ag markets did.
So, let's kind of go 30,000 foot view. What does this mean going forward? Obviously, we get a lot of meal out of Argentina and things like that. A lot of the world does. What kind of things are we going to be looking at?
I think this is one of those overreaction Wednesdays from the market. Number one, Argentina didn't have a lot of soybeans or soybean meal left over because of their poor crop last year, and yet the old crop contracts are currently taking the brunt of the pain in the markets today. So one, if the market was truly reacting, thinking that this is going to be an issue moving forward, I think you would have seen more of it in the back months. It just kind of feels like the markets have been looking for any reason to go one way or the other, trading in kind of sideways channels. And it took this opportunity to sell off some of those gains we saw earlier in the week. The 30,000 foot view, Argentina's looking at growing a fairly sizable crop next year of soybeans, or this year, and so they're going to be, they crush the majority of their beans. They're also the third largest exporter of corn in the world. They also play a fairly decent role as an exporter of wheat. So there is some pressure going forward if they continue to push on this and try to lower their currency to fix some of their inflationary issues that they've got going on in their own economy. The end result is it just makes things cheaper. And remember, for the longest time, they've had an export tax. So they've actually taxed farmers for sending stuff out of the country. It sounds like that's going to disappear. And so, you might have some farmer pushback. Prices will be even cheaper now. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And then what does that mean for maybe, for the competitors on the marketplace? When you talk about getting, trade involved and trade organizations involved, is there things that this could turn into a whole big, I hate to say, trade war between Argentina and other countries?
I'm sure someone will try to say that Argentina, some group of producers somewhere in the world are going to try to say that Argentina now has an unfair competitive advantage and might make some arguments to the World Trade Organization. That is way above my pay grade, but I could see some type of ripple effect. I still think that the repercussions of this are weeks, if not months, maybe even years down the road. But markets like to react to stuff, and once it started reacting, I'm sure some stops got triggered, some technical trading, and don't forget, a large portion of the volume you see in the CME anymore is robots trading with other robots, and they sometimes don't have the nuance that humans do.
So then let's move over to the livestock side of things. You said it was kind of an across the board down day, but cattle had been enjoying some nicer numbers, at least the last couple trading sessions. What kind of things are we seeing, and is it just going to be, you think, just a reactionary thing to Argentina?
I think the cattle was more, in our opinion, more of a technical trade today. If you look at the feeder cattle specifically, which have really been leading this sell-off here since mid to late September, feeder cattle, and it doesn't really matter which contract, take your pick. They've been trading in a very well-defined downward channel. And every time we've made a rally and we rally up to that upper channel line that's in a downtrend, that stops it. Yesterday, we actually got through that in January feeders. Felt like maybe there was a little bit of a momentum, but January feeders went up to the 20-day moving average, got rejected, stayed above the channel, and stayed above that channel today, but again got rejected at the 20-day. So I think that's more of a technical picture. If we can catch a rebound in the feeder calf futures, I think we could kind of finally get out of this channel, and that might provide some underlying support for it going forward. But the traders are gonna, they're the adage is usually do it until you're wrong, and so it's been working, and they're going to try to sell it and keep this thing going, and it will work until there's just no one there willing to step in and sell it, and maybe this is the time. But of course we've saw this, this has played out 3 or 4 times now where we felt like maybe this is the time we bust out of this channel. So we'll see if it happens here or not. One thing that for me is maybe a little bit discouraging is yesterday is first time since this break really started occurring where the cash index on feeders was actually below futures. So, I've always said that's been kind of supportive. Cash was hanging in there. Cash in the barns kind of fell off here over the last week. Some of that has to do with light volume being traded during the holidays and just time of the year too.
And then what about on the hog side of the equation? I know they've been just quietly taking it on the chin.
Yeah, hogs have been struggling. There's been some news with some of the hog producers or major corporations within that space where the California legislation is starting to have an effect on their production. They're producing hogs well below cost of production, or selling hogs, excuse me, well below cost of production. And so that just tells you we've got a supply issue out there, and the market's going to want to see this, have confirmation that this supply issue is corrected before it catches much of a rally. So I think in the short term, probably a little bit bearish. There's some weekly, or I should say, there's some technical reasons in there as well. The hog chart, same deal as in the feeder cattle and really the live cattle, been trading in a pretty steady downward channel. This one in hogs goes all the way back to February of last year. So the one bright spot is, the lower edge of that channel is going to come in down around 66, $65. We settled today at 66.72. So if that channel can hold again, you might look for a little bit of a rally in hogs here moving forward.
All right. So if folks want to pick you guys' brains there at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Tyler?
Website's always the best, agmarket.net. There's a contact page. You can look up. We got brokers from North Dakota to Kentucky, and you can find someone close to you and their number or email. Reach out, and if they want to call direct, number 701-987-6009.
All right, Tyler, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
You bet. Take care, Dustin.
And that again was Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen.
March corn was down 5 3/4 at 479.5. Soybeans down 16 1/4 at 1307.5. Soy meal down $8.10 at 402.20. Soy oil down 59 cents at 49.83. Chicago wheat down 20 1/4 at 605 1/4. Kansas wheat right now is trading down 24 3/4 at 632 even. Minneapolis wheat closing down 16 at 713.5. Oats was up 10 1/2 at 354 1/4. Live cattle for December were down 75 cents at 166.95. January feeders down $1.87 at 217.37. Lean hogs down $1.52 at 66.72. Pork cutouts down 72 cents at 81.72. Class 3 milk $16.20. That is up 2 cents.
And that's been a Checkoff the market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association, on the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we talk with LG Seeds' Jed Norman. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, the 2024 growing season is getting closer as we get ready to flip the calendar here in just a few weeks. We're talking with LG Seeds and Jed Norman about what you should be thinking about in your fields and what LG Seeds has available to help you meet your growing goals.
We're talking right now with Jed Norman of LG Seeds. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us here today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
So I know one thing we're looking at, getting ready for 2024, especially in Iowa, we had a lot of drought, a lot of things to be thinking about. And it's really dry. I mean, hybrids do a lot to get us through the droughts and through the tough times, but it's a challenge to begin with. I mean, what kind of things should farmers be thinking about here to get ready for that 2024 season?
Yeah, I think overall, being able to just go back and look at, kind of what worked for the most part. I would say, most guys in the state of Iowa, we're starting maybe with our bucket is kind of half full or below half full. So, we're already kind of struggling for some moisture. So, with that being said, I feel like a lot of things we can be learning just what we had this year, and then be pushing that into some decision making into the next year, because I think Mother Nature really needs to kind of start cooperating if we're going to maybe not have to worry about that type of stress.
I know one of the things that farmers are thinking about is diversification of their hybrids and their seed choices. I mean, why is that something that farmers really should be considering right now?
Because I feel like overall, not all hybrids react the same. Every single one, reacts and responds differently what Mother Nature gives. And I think overall, diversifying your portfolio, I feel like overall you're just kind of mitigating your risk. We always want to start off and we want to maximize every acre and hit that home run. But you just don't know what Mother Nature is going to offer, and what other challenges that are going to be brought upon us. So by diversifying the portfolio and just kind of expanding what's available, I think overall we can be pretty successful at the end of the day.
So when we're talking about diversification of different hybrids during a growing season, how should farmers really kind of think? Is there a rule of thumb maybe they should follow to how many they should be thinking about putting in?
Yeah, I think overall, just overall selection and quantity size, I think overall, in my mind, and it kind of falls back to, how big the grower is as well. I really feel like, not putting all of our eggs in one basket is a big deal. I would say overall, I usually tell guys anywhere from that 2 to 3, 3 to 4 hybrids is usually a good option. Because, overall, I think, we just don't know what's going to happen. I also, as far as kind of how you break that down, we all have those hybrids that we, can rely on. We've had them for a while. We've put them on, through stress. We've put them on about every acre we own. But I also know that, for LG Seeds alone, we're kicking out new genetics, with our unique germplasm. That's what we're about. And there's a reason why we're launching products every year, because whether it's the yield bump in that specific maturity range, whether it would be an agronomic advantage. We've been battling tar spot. We've been battling rootworm, drought. So we're constantly with the new genetics and these class of hybrids. We're testing those in those environments, and so we are able to maybe come out with a better option for guys moving forward.
And LG's brought up a term I've never thought about when you're talking about seed, and that's being defensive, defensive selection. And so what does that mean, and what kind of a thinking process goes into that?
Yeah, I think it's usually kind of the agronomist, the way. It may not always be kind of what we want to do. Nothing's better to go out and hit a home run. That'd be fun to do, year round and consistently. But here again, I think overall we are just we combat stresses, we combat other environmental challenges. So I think overall being defensive, we can be able to handle those smoothly, but all the while, we're not giving up any yield. And so I think if we can overall bring the defensive piece to it and maintain the yield, I think it's going to be a better play for us.
So obviously there's a lot of data, a lot of information that farmers are gathering now at the computers at the touch of a finger. How do they use that scouting information, the data, all that to really help make that seed decision for the next year?
From my personal experience, we would all like to want to believe that we can remember everything we come across, and so but not always the case, because I'm even guilty. Sometimes kind of forget what a guy particularly saw in a particular area or a particular hybrid. But for me, falling back on those notes is key. For this year alone, I would say that early season you had products that guys are planting earlier all the time. So needing a product that can punch through the ground, have that good early vigor, or maybe it falls into a kind of a soil-borne pathogen. What seed treatments do we need to add to that particular genetic, that particular hybrid? That's the early stuff. So that's stuff that kind of we battled this year. So making notes of that and game planning for the following year. Mid-season, that tassel time frame, it's the diseases, it's tar spot. What hybrids handled it well, which ones did not, and how do we need to manage that differently? And then late season, overall, stocks. Did we have any issues with disease? Did we have enough there for the plant to finish out strong? So every little bit of piece of information, that we can, make a solid game plan for the following year is always a better day, when it comes down to it.
So how does LG Seeds help those farmers avoid mistakes, make the right selections at the right times?
Well, I think overall we want to make sure that maybe we are making we're challenging that hybrid before we ever launch it. We want to make the mistakes and learn from them. That way we can kind of push it onto our growers. That way they are they're successful in doing that. And so we want to take that risk. We don't want to put that on our growers. And so for us it's boots on the ground. It's data, and it's in being able to push that onto our growers. That way they can be successful at the end of the day.
All right, so if farmers want to talk to LG Seeds about the hybrids they offer, maybe get some of that advice we're talking about, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
So contact your local representative. We have numerous boots on the ground, all over the Corn Belt, whether it be DSM, agronomists, and but if you can't find us in your local area, you can always go online and look up lgseeds.com.
All right. Well, Jed, thanks so much for taking time to visit with us today.
Well, hey, appreciate you having me.
And that again was Jed Norman of LG Seeds. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ag weather outlook. Well, the sun is shining here in Des Moines today, a beautiful day, and expecting to see that continue as those clouds have pushed their way off now to the east. Let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours.
Well, definitely going to be a very nice forecast for the next day or two, as clouds are on the decrease across the state, and we saw mostly sunny skies today. Highs were in the low to mid 40s. Now tonight, mostly clear skies across the state. Temps going to dip down to those low to mid 20s. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies and warmer temperatures. Today's high going to be tomorrow's low, as we're going to see ranges anywhere from the mid to upper 40s all the way up into the low 50s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for you for tomorrow, pretty cookie cutter, as we see Cherokee and Waterloo both looking to be sunny and 49, Shenandoah, Des Moines, and Albia all sunny and 52, Clinton sunny skies and 47 degrees.
And that's been a check of your ag weather outlook. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our free e-newsletter. It comes out about 5 o'clock every weekday at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget about our free market podcasts. They're available through Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean, and delivered right to your mobile device, again, free of charge. From the IAM studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, I thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.